Hello everyone, welcome back to the SAP Manufacturing Consultant channel. This time we're going to be running a process for a process order with handle units. This is our process flow. We're going to be creating the process order, and then we'll release the process order. We will see a few other processes that are running when we are releasing. Then we have a couple of processes that can be done in one transaction, which is the confirmation of activities and posting liquid issue for the components. Because in this case, we're going to be using backflash. Then we have another process for creating the handling units for the good receipt. We'll be using the COP2. Then we're going to create the good receipt finished product, right, into those handle units that were created previously. After that, we will go to results recording in QM for inspection type 04. And then after the results recording, we will do the user decision. In this case, probably we will use the same transaction, both, but of course we have a separate transaction as well when needed. Then we're going to be checking stocks that are unrestricted after the movement, 321 we will do. And of course, we will check the movements within the order, and then we will tick all the order. Let's jump right in. We will create the process order first, COR1. The material should be this one. It's a fertilizer, 50 kgs. We will produce 40 pieces or bags. It's not a working day, it's just a warning. We can press enter again and accept. The system is adopting the master data and it's scheduling as well, as you can see. These are the other processes that are running in the background, okay? Because we ask the system to do it for this order type we are running, okay? We can have a specific video for checking the configuration that it's behind. We will see that in other videos. Just leave in the comments if you want to know more about that. But basically, there is a configuration that it's requesting that. So we have basic dates and we have a schedule as well, as you can see here. And there is a time that will take to produce these 40 pieces. That's why it says we will start at 8 a.m. and it will finish at 9:36. Okay, a few things I would like to share with you. Let's check operations, for example. Of course, the operations is coming from the master recipe. This is one of the processes. You can check the video for the master recipe for this one. Basically, it's a simple one in this case because it's just a packing line, right? Because we produce first bulk, which is this one without the dot and the 50. This is the product which is semi-finished, and then we will use the semi-finished to produce the final one, okay? So basically we're packing this in bags of 50 kgs each. Then one thing to mention here is that we're using this specific control key. This control key will allow us to schedule, of course, you saw that. We will determine capacities as well. It will allow costing, and there is a milestone, okay? Because we will do the confirmation just once. Okay, so here you can see also the time that it takes to produce this, right? Because it's taking 1 hour 36 minutes, as you can see. That's why the order, since we have only one, in this case, operations and phase, right? It's going to take this time in the header of the order. That's the time you saw in the order, okay? And this is the production values, right? We have operation quantity 40. We can double click here and we can see the standard values. The standard values we have is basically operation quantity 40 in this case, but the base quantity is 25, right? So we have 1 hour for 25. So it's taking more than 1 hour because it's proportionally has to be for this, right? It's for 40. Okay, what else can I show you right now? Basically, I'm going to show you now the materials. Okay, as I said, we are consuming the semi-finished, which is this one, and we are consuming here a bag and labels. The proportion is, in this case, for 2000, we're going to be producing 40 bags of 50 kgs each and 40 labels. Okay. Only one will require a batch. The others are not batch managed, as you can see here. It's gray out, right? And these two will be backflashed. Okay. This one can be consumed in another way, or we can just flag it for this scenario. We can flag this as a backflash. Okay, we will see in the specific videos all of these functionalities, but basically we can control the backflash at the resource level, or we can control at the material master, for example. Okay, so in this case, we can also flag it here. Okay, we can also flag it in the master recipe if we want to be very specific, right? So in this case, I will flag it as a backflash, also the component, okay, the semi-finished. Um, okay, regarding the batch, we will do automatic batch determination. We can have a specific video for that as well, but it's going to be assigned automatically, okay, here. And at the time of release, okay, or we can also do it here, going to this icon, okay, execute batch determination. Okay, we can do it right now just for the sake of understanding that. Let's check in, determining the batch, and it was determined. See? Okay, so the batch was assigned. You will see double lines here, but basically one of the lines will not be considered, right? As you can see here, it's 0 kgs, and this is the first split, I would say. Okay, depending on the configuration, we have multiple splits, right? Or trying to get only one for one specific batch, okay? And avoid multiple splits or multiple batches, I would say. Okay, what else we can discuss? We will continue discussing this in other videos specifically, right? And I will show you, for example, how can we achieve this, but automatic batch determination for the components that are batch managed, of course. But basically, I think with this is enough for you to check that this was working this way, right? And let me go to release, okay? Yeah, let's go to the release now. Checking availability again, and it's done, okay? The release was without any issue. So I will save it, and it will give us the order number. Okay, so this is the order that was created. You can double click the order just to copy, or if you go to core 2, for example, you will have it there anyway, okay? Because the system will remember the last one. One thing to mention, the processor type, if you notice, I haven't entered that, but it can be determined by the material master in the material master we assign a scheduling profile. Okay, so it can be determined that way. The other thing I would like to mention is very quickly. Let's go memo 3 for this finished product. I will check one thing here. Let's go towards scheduling and quality management. Okay, this is the production schedule profile I mentioned. Okay, that's why the order type was determined for this material without having to enter it. Okay. Then the other thing I would like to mention, okay, this is important. The work scheduling view is important in order to get a process order. Okay, if you do not create this view, you will not be able to issue a process order. Okay, you cannot create it. Let's go to quality management just to check what we're planning to do. Okay, as you can see, we have an inspection set up. It's ticked, right? So this one is flagged. It means that we do have an inspection. And what is the inspection we have active? Another flag. It's CO4. Okay. One thing to mention, besides the inspection type itself, that you know it's the good to see from production, it means that we'll create an inspection lot at the time of the good receipt, right? The other thing to mention here, which is important in this case, is that the handling unit, inspection for handling units is activated. This is important, okay? Because we're planning to uh, do the inspection for a handling unit as well, okay? In this case. Okay, that's it. Yeah, excellent. So let's jump to the other process. Keep in mind that we have done two things at the same time, all right? Or two steps at the same time, which is the creation of the process order and the release. But you can create and save it, right? And then you can release it at the time when you need the order, right? So, but we're doing a few things all together here just for the sake of the scenario, right? But in real life, you might do that later, right? Not necessarily the same day. Okay, excellent. Okay, this step is the confirmation of the order. Okay, in the general process, you need to do typically the good issue first, then you do the confirmation, then you do the good receipt. But in this case, since we're using backflash, we're going to be doing the good issue of the components during the confirmation of the order. Okay, so let's go to the confirmation transaction. In this case, we're going to be using core 6N. We need to put the order. I think it was 40. In this case, since it's the first one, the first and unique operation, I would say, and phase, right? We will just need to put the quantity here and the machine and labor, and this will be the unique, let's say, operation and phase we are confirming. Okay, basically, that's it. As you can see, it's phase 11 for the operation 10. Okay, and there is nothing else to confirm because it's a milestone and it's the only one in this case. Okay, if it wasn't a milestone, it would work anyway because we can also do mandatory confirmation as well. Okay, we will discuss in other videos, or if you have any questions, you can make it in the comments and we can discuss more deeply in that part. Okay, the type of confirmations we can use. Okay, so in this case, we are just confirming machine and labor. Okay, let's assume it was in, we will do this, for example, pieces, first of all, sorry. We will produce 40 pieces. This is what is expected, okay? When we confirm partially, or when we confirm in a different, let's say, phases, we will see more information here, okay? But in this case, this is the first time, so it's just 40 here. There's no scrap, so we will keep the 40. And we will put just, let's say, in minutes, we can put in minutes or we can put in hours, 1.5 hours, and let's assume it's 1.5 hours. Okay, so let me just press enter. It will accept. It's saying that it's today is not a for the posting date. It's picking up today, and it says that it cannot, right? Because it's not working day, but that's okay. We can still insist on that. The other thing that is important is the automatic final confirmation. Okay, this is important as well. And the other important thing is the second step we discussed is about the good movements. My presenter, I press, I press the bottom. I mean, and as you can see, we have to consume the 2000 kgs of the semi-finished product and the 40 labels, bags and labels. Okay. The reason for this is that we set up as a backflash. Remember that we saw these two as backflash, and this one was not, but I flagged it during the order creation. As I mentioned, we can flag that manually at the order. We can flag at the master recipe level. So we always want to have this as a backflash because we're using the same master recipe, or we can define it as these are at the material master level, or we can also assign it at the resource level. Okay. In another video, we can discuss in detail that. The batch is here, as you can see, because the system is ready to do the good issue of this. Okay, that's why it's planning to use this movement, right, for all these components and in this quantity. This is the time where you can put different values here if you are consuming more for some reason. Okay, if you are consuming more labels for some reason, or more quantity or less quantity, shouldn't be like that, right? But in general, it's the same or more, right? Okay, so we're not going to touch anything here, and then we will just press the posting button here, and you can see here on the left, pay attention on the left, you will see the material movements happening in the background. It's calculating cost, post good movements. This is the very important thing to take a look at, okay? The numbers of movements are three. Those are the three we saw before. It's a semi-finished plus bags plus labels, right? And zero fail. This is important, okay? Because if there is any failure here, we can force the system to fail completely and give us an error message, or we can, by configuration, we can accept the failures, and then we need to go to COGI transaction to sort the problem, okay, to fix it. I mean, to until you, for example, if there was no enough stock and that kind of stuff, you need to fix it, and then you can run it. In this case, we have configured this to fail if there is any failure here. Okay, it will not happen. But in this case, everything is fine, so it's working. We will have specific videos. Leave in the comments below if you want to know more about that. But probably I can make some videos with a lot of issues and how can we solve those issues as well. Okay. Excellent. So we have done all the movements and we have confirmed the order. Okay. So now we need to go to the next step. Let me just leave this transaction. Okay. So before doing the good receipt from production, we need to create or to plan the handling unit numbers that will be used to pack this material. Okay. The concept of packing is to put a material, finished good typically, right? It could be semi-finished as well, it could be raw material as well, but in this case, we are dealing with the finished good. So we can pack this finished good into a specific, let's say, carrier, okay? In this case, it will be a pallet. So let me put the order. The order is 40. We'll just press enter here. And as you can see, the system is proposing to get one pallet, okay, and to put 20 units, okay, into one pallet. As you can see, the total quantity is 40 units, right? Or 40 pieces, because we're producing 40 in our process order, right? But this is, you can consider this a kind of a bill of material, right? That you need one pallet every 20 bags of 50 kgs each of this product. Okay, this is basically what we are telling the system how this should be packed. Okay, and okay, that's it. It's just now the purpose of this transaction is to create and save, as you can see here, this handle unit that will be used in a second step for doing the actual good receipt. Okay, so let me just save this, create and save, prepare and quality inspection, because what the system is doing is considering this handling unit to be inspected. Okay, because we set up, remember, the CO4 inspection type with handling units. Okay, that's why it was preparing handling unit inspection in this case. Okay, so these are the two handling units that were created, as you can see. Okay, but let me show you something, which is basically, let me open a new session here, is where we tell the system what packaging instruction it should use. Okay, first of all, let me show you the POP3. This is the packaging instruction. And as you can see, as I mentioned, this is kind of basically a bill of material. Okay, this is a simple one. We can do more complex in the future, because you can have, for example, boxes. In this case, they are bags, right? So no need to put into a box. But let's suppose we have smaller bags of, I don't know, let's say fertilizers of 100 grams, right? For house gardening or something like that. So in those cases, we might have some small bags into boxes, and those boxes into pallets, right? This is a simple case, as I said. It's just 20 bags of 50 kgs each into one pallet. Okay, this is what we're doing. Basically, this is the item number, 10, 20, 30. We can put here other things, okay, other linen, whatever you need, right? Carton, whatever you need to produce a handling unit, a finished handling unit. We will do more complex things in another videos for other type of industry, or we can use this industry also to do that, as I mentioned before. And this is basically the quantity you need. Okay, one pallet into 20 units of or bags of this semi-finished finished product. Okay, and that's it. This is the load carrier, as I mentioned. This is the carrier, right? It's going to be transported. And the important thing about the handling unit is that something that you cannot change, right? If you need to change, you need to unpack, right? While it's packed, you shouldn't touch it. Okay, it should be always exactly with the components, the numbers, the labels, everything as it was. Okay, intended, let's say, or planned. Okay. So this is the packaging instruction, but we also need to tell that for this material, we need to use this packaging instruction. Okay, so there is another transaction for that, which is the POF. Yeah, in this case, since I was using this, it's coming, right? But anyway, there are different determination types. The one we're using is this one for the warehouse stock. If it's a raw material, it's for goods received from procurement, etc. There might be others, okay? But in this case, this is the one we're going to use. Let me present it here. There are other levels, different levels, and I use this one just to be very specific, as you can see. because depending on this, if you put just the material, it means that this material will always use the same packaging instruction, right? But you might have other plants that wanted to use a different one, right? Maybe in one plant you cannot put 20, you need to put, for example, 10 only, for whatever reason, right? In the same happen for this. This is for a storage location specific. You might have another one for another storage location, okay? But in this case, it's just for the sake of understanding how this works. Just one second. So as you can see, we have the plant, we have a storage location. In this case, I created this specific storage location, 0005, 400 unit. We cannot share, right? It's if it's 100 unit or is not, right? This is configuration as well. I can show you that in another video. And the material, okay? If we do not have the material here, right, we can do multiple ones, okay? We can put more materials. In this case, this is just 3, so we cannot change. But if it's 2, if it was 2, you will see white in blank here. It means you can put other materials as well here, okay? And here we're telling the system that for this combination, right, this material will require this packaging instruction. That's why we were able to produce the 100 unit, 200 unit for this material the way it was. Okay, excellent. So I think we can jump to the other step, which is basically doing the good receipt into those 100 units that were already created. Okay, so since we have already our 100 units, we just need to do the good receipt from production into those 100 units, okay? So for doing that, the transaction is CO WB B HU, 100 unit, sorry, where? Okay, this is the transaction. We can go to, if you don't remember, like me probably, you can go to the production, you can go to shop floor control, then you need to go to good movements, okay? This is what we're trying to do, right? And then besides the typical Migo Mago, right, we have here, right, the one we want, okay? Good receipt with handy unit. This is the one we just want to use, okay? This one, basically. Double click on this one anyway. Okay, it's bringing up the order already, but if not, of course, you need to type in the order here. You have today's date, and we just need to go here to propose handy unit for order, okay? The proposed handy unit is only possible because we already created the handy unit for this order, okay? Remember that when we went to the COP2 transaction, we went there with the process order number, okay? So those handy units are linked to that process order anyway, okay? That's why the system will know which handy unit we want to use for packing this, okay? There you are. So we have the 200 units after pressing the proposed handy unit here, okay? So what the system's planning to do, well, basically into this storage location, it's planning to do the good receipt for 20 units and 20 units here, okay? Because there are 200 units with 20 each, okay? Nothing else. So basically, oh, there is one thing here. Let me check. Here. We need to put the date of manufacturing, okay? This is mandatory. Put today, and we will just post. Okay. Good to see 500 unit was posted successfully. We can check this, but we will also go to QM as well. Okay, so we will be checking that in the right next to this step. Okay, so now we need to do the results recording. Okay, so we will go to QE51 N. Okay, in this transaction, we need to put, of course, the plant, and we can also put the inspection lot origin if we want, because we might have for in process, we might have for raw materials, we might have others. Okay, so let me put just the CO4 for good receipt from production. You can also put the material if you want, right? And the dates. You can filter in case you are running a very busy laboratory with a lot of movements, right? Then you will need to refine it. But you can also search by inspection lot, etc. But let's do it this way, which is a simple way. Okay, excellent. So as you can see, this is the inspection lot. You start with 4 because it's inspection type 40. I'm sorry, it's CO4. Okay, so that's why you see a 4 here, 40, whatever you want to call it. Then the description of the material number, which is this one, dot 50, and this is the process order number, right? Remember, 140. So this 10 here is the level of the operation, okay, that we set up the master inspection characteristic, okay? Then we have a sample because we are running with sample management. We will discuss in more details that in specific videos, but this is a sample management. So a sample management means that we can also take another sample if we want, right? And also inspect. We will have a specific video for that kind of situations that we might have. Okay. This case, just to keep it simple, because we are um, overview, we have an overview of the whole process, right? The integration between PP and QM. We're just going to do it in the regular way. So let's jump into the results. We have 3 characteristics in this case. Let's assume we have for phosphorus, we have 15.1. Let's assume we have for nitrogen 14.9. And let's assume that for potassium we have 15.4. Okay. The important thing here in this screen is that you will see the status. Okay. The status of a characteristic in this case, 1, it's something that we need to inspect, okay, must be processed. When are mandatory, we will have 1, right? If this not it's not mandatory, it can be processed, or we can have cases where is skip, right? So if it's a skip, we don't need to inspect, right? We will discuss that in another video for skip analysis, which is basically using a dynamic modification rule. In this case, it's a standard one. We need to inspect, and we need to see the 1 here. Then after the valuation, which is the next step, right? It's to evaluate if this is okay or not. Of course, as humans, we can realize that this number is between the specifications. Therefore, it will be fine, right? It will be okay, validated as okay. But let's see how the process works here. Okay, and then after the valuation, we are expecting processing complete. We can define this by configuration, or also we can define it at the user level. Okay, if we want to do this automatically, on what moment, if when we save, or when we just go to the next one, etc. Okay, all this can be defined. In my case, I prefer this way, and this is the way I'm doing it. As you can see here, I type in all the results, right, and then I'm going to press enter here. As you can see, after pressing enter, the system jump, let's say, from one. Actually, it passed through three first, okay, because it was evaluated. As you can see here, it was evaluated, accepted, 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 right, and then has closed the characteristics, so we cannot change it anymore, right? That's why we use this five. Without this, I can show you in another video. You can do that step by step if you want. First, you can evaluate, then you can close. Okay, that's the different steps that you can do as well. Okay, so everything went well. One thing important to mention is that, and even though you save everything here, I mean, it's in status 5, right? It's not actually saved completely. Okay, you need to still press the save button. Okay, and once you've saved the button here, you have this valuation. The reason for this valuation is that we are actually using inspection point with sample management. Okay, so basically we need also to evaluate the inspection point, which is the sample in this case. Okay, so of course we can change it, but it's not advisable, because if it was accepted, all characteristics were accepted, they should be accepted as well. As you can see, it's proposed already as accept. Okay, but of course we can go here and change it if is needed, if for some reason, right? But it will be inconsistent. Okay, but anyway, it's up to you, of course, depending on the business needs. Typically, you will accept this, right? And now you will see the eye here. Okay, this is the typical screen that you need to see to be sure you already saved the data. Okay, the other thing is that this change to or turn green box. Okay, this is the other. Instead of a flag, now you see a green box. This is telling you that this was finished. Okay, it was completed, let's say. Okay, okay, so there are a next step is basically to do the user decision. Okay, so we want to do this in the same transaction. No need to go to the second step, but keep in mind that the next step was doing the user decision. What is the purpose of the user decision? Well, basically, the user decision will let us take the final decision, right, depending on the inspection, to move the quality inspection stock into unrestricted stock. Okay, so let me show you how we can go to the QA11. Instead of typing QA11, we can do it both way, right? The typical, if the same analyst is doing the inspection and also doing the user decision, then this person can go directly from here. See, this is the inspection log. We can double click, and actually you are in the QA11, as you can see. Okay, no need to go to QA11. But if the user decision is done by the manager, for example, okay, it happens in some for distribution of responsibilities. Let's say the analyst is only doing the inspection, but user decision is taken by a supervisor or the manager, laboratory manager, for example. If that is the case, well, you need to use, of course, QA11, right? And of course, the analyst cannot use this transaction and can use only QA51N for adding the results recording. Okay, in the user decision, you will have all the information, of course, the quality, the inspection log, the material we're inspecting, the status that we have. See, we have the Hana unit in this case. To check the system status, you can go to this icon here. Okay. So we have assignment of handle unit. We have results confirmed. The sample was calculated, of course. Inspection characteristics were created, right? Plan specific assign, inspection active, and was released, etc. Right? So we have all that information, of course. So basically, if there was an issue, right, with some of the characteristic, we should see the issues here. So before taking the user decision, we can see that there is any issue already here. Since we don't see anything, it means that everything went well, right? Everything was accepted. So we can just go and choose the user decision. Okay. So for this one, we go to CO4 and we will accept. Okay. This is a kind of a let's say attribute that we use, and we expect to take us to the movements that we need. Okay, you will see that later. Okay, so basically in this case we will discuss these in details when we deal with the catalogs and selected set. Okay, because you will see what it's doing in the background. Okay, but just for the sake of understanding this process, you just need to know that we are accepting, right? The A for accept, as you can see here, right? And we need to go also, we can also press enter here, no problem, right? It's accepted, valuation, code valuation. And you will see the samples here, right? In this case, we have only one, but we might have others. This is the valuation accepted that we saw as a different pop-up window that I mentioned, right? So we have unaccepted characteristics, and also we have an accepted samples or inspection point, which is the same thing in this case. We are using the concept of inspection point for sample management. However, we can still use inspection points without the use of sample management. Okay, we will discuss that in specific scenarios, but inspection point can be um, in a time base, can be in quantity base, etc. Okay, and then we have the inspection lot stock, which is the important thing here. In the regular products that are received in kgs, you will see a different tab here, a different screen, I would say. But in this case, since this is handle unit managed, we will see this specific screen with the handle unit numbers, as you can see. Okay. Since we have just one or two, I'm sorry, in this case, just a few, that's what I meant, we can just cite one by one unrestricted use, unrestricted use. But when we have multiple handle units, okay, you can do this at the header level, unrestricted for all of them. See, it was already populated automatically. But keep in mind that you can use for all, you can see to you can set as unrestricted. But if you have one particular with an issue, right, one specific handle unit with issue, then you can block it. For example, only that one, that and the unit in particular. Okay, just for the sake of this scenario, as I said, everything's going well, and we will just handle this way everything. Okay, but we will have a specific videos for handling situations like rejecting one handle unit only and so on. Okay, so everything is fine, and then what we're expecting then is when we save is to post from quality inspection into unrestricted stock. Okay, so before doing that, let me show you very quickly. MMMBE for this one. One thing to mention is that we are dealing with batch status. Okay, since we're dealing with batch status, we need to see display version 14. Batches with the status. Otherwise, you will not see the column of restricted, for example. Okay, let me check that. Okay, so we have 60 because there are other 20 from another, most likely from another process order. Okay, but in this case, we're having one, I'm sorry, 40, right? 40, two pallets, that is basically 40 units, okay, or 40 pieces. Okay, so let me go back. Oh, not don't go back, but go back to this one, I mean. And now let's save this one. User decision is saved. If we refresh this, we shouldn't see that anymore. See, there is nothing there. So because it's already inspected, let's say, okay? And user decision has been taken. So now let's refresh this one. And 40 were moved here, right? Okay, excellent. Let's jump to the next step then, and the final one. Okay, so now to close this video, this process, we need to check the process order, and we will T-code the process order. We will flag it as a technically complete if everything is fine. So the first thing you need to take a look at is basically the delivered quantity. It's gray out, right? You're going to change it from here. But basically this is regarding the movements we just did, right? So we received 40 and the intended quantity was 40 as well, okay? Besides that, we can also check a few other things. For example, the assignment, well, the assignment is just picking up information, but this is the important thing, the good to see, okay? We have the location, we have the under delivery. This is master data, okay? But basically, this is what we need to take a look at because we have the final delivery already flagged. It means automatically set because we have 5% and 10%, and the total quantity that we delivered was 40. So it means it's within the range. Therefore, it will flag it automatically as final good receipt. Okay, final delivery in this case. Okay, so the other thing I would like to check is basically in the go-to. Let's documented good movements. This is very critical for the costing purposes. Okay, you need to be sure you consumed all the components that you did the good to ship for the finished good. Okay, otherwise you might have problems with the cost. As you can see here, right, we have different materials, okay, and the movement. Okay, so it's 261 for all these components, and then the finished good. We did 101 to do the good to ship, and then the 321 to move from quality inspection into unrestricted stock, as you can see. Okay, so of course this has no cost. Okay, these are the only one with cost. So the finished good was with this almost 3,700 almost euros for the finish, semi-finish. I'm sorry, and this is the cost for just the bags and the labels, and this is for the final one. Okay. Excellent. So we covered that. So now we just need to go here, process order, functions, restrict processing, technically complete. So it changes to TICO, as you can see here. Okay, system status TICO. It's delivered. It's confirmed. We can check from here. Pre-costed, good movements, right? Material commitment, committed, and settlement rules created. Okay, so all these status are the one expected, and this is the last one we were intended to do because we want to leave this for controlling, to do the costings and closing the order. Okay, but from the PP perspective, this is the last step, which is just to TICO the order, so it's ready to be costed. Excellent. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Um, Let me just save it, just to be sure, right? If you don't save it, it's not going to change. And leave any comments if you want for the next videos, the subject of the next videos, what changes you want to do with this, and we can do other videos, right? We're considering um, different processes, let's say, right? So this is for handle unit. Probably I will create a new video without the handle unit, which is very standard as well. Okay, and we will do some variations also with QM. We also need to perform the process order and the inspection for the semi-finished. The semi-finished will have also in process simple. Okay, this is just packaging. That's why we didn't have it in process. But for the semi-finish, is there is an in process inspection type, and we will do also the good receipt from production CO4 inspection type as well for the semi-finished. Okay, so we can do that as well. Okay, but leave any comments, please, for future videos. Any suggestion, any improvement, or any comment at all will be a good thing for me to help me to grow the channel to grow. Right? Okay, please subscribe, like it if you like it, and share it as well with other colleagues. Thank you very much.